Let's dive into a story. Now, on the surface, it looks like it's just about a video game, but trust me, it's really a masterclass in a kind of power that most people never see. It's not about winning flashy battles. It's about making yourself so completely essential that the entire world you're in simply cannot function without you.
And you know, this whole thing really boils down to one simple question. What is real power? Is it the shiny crown you wear, the official title you hold, or is it something quieter, something deeper, the kind of influence you have when you're the one who designed the whole system in the first place?
So you've got these two ideas clashing, right? On one side, you've got formal authority, the crown, the CEO, the person with the title. But on the other, you have essential influence. That's the architect, the person who designs the game, keeps it running, and, well, holds all the real keys. Our story is about a guy who didn't want the crown. He wanted to be the architect.
So where does a leader like this even come from? Well, our story starts with a player named Kyoya, and his path to power, it wasn't paved with promotions and pats on the back. Nope. It was paved with betrayal, with exile, and it's what forged him into a kind of ghost general.
You've got to understand, his early days were just this brutal cycle of rejection. He'd get kicked from alliances for the dumbest reasons, get stabbed in the back by people he trusted. He just kept getting underestimated and tossed aside. A clear pattern was forming. No matter how good he was always on the outside looking in.
But all that chaos taught him something. Maybe the most important lesson of all. It became his personal motto. Forget talk. Forget promises. Your actions, the results you can actually deliver, that is the only thing that matters. Let your proof do the talking for you.
So when he lands in a brand new server, guess what happens? Deja vu. It's the exact same story all over again. The established leaders, they don't see an asset, they see a threat. His own team wants him to lead, and for that, he gets kicked out, demoted, and totally ignored. An outcast? Again.
So after they demote him, after they publicly dismiss him, he doesn't lash out, he doesn't argue, he doesn't cause a scene. He just leaves them with this quiet, almost chilling warning. He's basically saying, we can fix this the easy way, or we can fix this my way. And of course, they just laughed at him.
And this is where the story completely flips on its head. While they were laughing, Kyoya wasn't sulking, he was building. In total silence, he created this many alternate accounts. Think about that. Not an army of allies, an army of himself, just waiting in the shadows for the perfect moment.
And when that server-wide war, the KVK, finally kicked off, he unleashed it. 20 of those accounts moving as one, perfectly timed. They starved enemy supply lines, they broke formations, they single-handedly turned the entire tide of the war. He didn't just help win, he was the reason they won.
And just like that, everything changed. The perception of him completely flipped. The very same players who had laughed him off now had to face a simple, undeniable fact. He had made himself so critical that his presence was the literal difference between life and death for their server. He'd proven his worth, and now, power was coming to find him.
But here's the thing about Kyoya. Winning a single war, that wasn't the endgame. His ambition was bigger than that. He started to evolve from just being a master tactician to becoming something more, an architect, a builder of worlds, and yeah, eventually a judge.
So he lays out this incredibly ambitious plan to engineer a brand new, stable server right from scratch. The blueprint was honestly brilliant. 3 balanced factions so no single group gets too powerful. Leadership based on a council with rotating officers to prevent any one person from becoming a dictator. And all of it held together by diplomacy that involved the whole community. It was a design for a perfect kingdom.
But you know how it goes, right? A perfect plan on paper always runs into messy reality. Leaders stopped showing up. Alliances started to fall apart. People stopped talking to each other. The perfect balance he created started to tip. The system was failing, not because the design was bad, but because of good old-fashioned human error.
Now this was his moment. This was his chance to step in, grab the crown, and say, I told you so. But he didn't. Instead, he just stepped out of the shadows to fix the machine, rebalancing the factions, getting the councils working again.
His goal was never to rule the kingdom, it was to make sure no one else could ruin it. His power came from being the only guy who could keep the whole thing from collapsing.
By now, his reputation was spreading. He wasn't just the war guy or the server builder anymore. He was the problem solver. So a player from a completely different server reaches out to him. They're claiming that the leaders are punishing them for being friends with certain people, while other leaders' friends get a free pass for doing the same thing. It was a textbook case of hypocrisy.
So what does Kyoya do? Does he log in with his alt army and declare war? No. He does something way smarter. He uses his influence. He silently joins their server, creates a group chat that he calls a courtroom, invites every single leader involved, and just sets the stage for the truth to come out on its own.
And then he asks this one simple, devastatingly brilliant question. He doesn't accuse anyone. He doesn't point a single finger. He just holds up a mirror and asks them to define themselves. Is this one group forcing its bias rules on everyone? Or is this how you, the leaders of the entire server, have decided to operate?
And the effect was just immediate. Faced with a question they could not answer honestly without admitting their own hypocrisy, they had nothing to say. So one by one, they just left the chat. Proof, gone. The silence was the answer. It was the loudest confession you've ever heard. Justice was served without a single sword being drawn.
Okay, so what can we take away from all this? Kyoya's journey gives us this incredibly powerful set of lessons about real influence, the kind of leadership that works way beyond any game. We can boil it all down into what we'll just call the Kyoya Doctrine.
And this brings us right to the heart of it, the Shadow King. This isn't the person wearing the crown. This is the leader whose power comes from being the essential architect. They're the one who designs, builds, and maintains the entire system, making them the most critical piece on the board, whether they have a fancy title or not. If you take them out, the whole thing just unravels.
The doctrine itself is pretty simple, but it's profound. First, stop begging for power and start building systems that make you essential. Second, focus on commanding the whole board, not just chasing that one shiny piece, the crown. Third, do the hard work in silence. Let your victory be the thing that makes all the noise. And finally, and this one is huge, use calm, direct questions to expose bias. Let people condemn themselves with their own answers or their silence.
And that really brings it all back to us, doesn't it? Because this type of person, the Shadow King, isn't just in games. It's the quiet coder who's the only one who truly understands how the legacy software works. It's the unassuming admin who actually knows how to get things done in a massive bureaucracy. It's the silent partner whose vision is what really guides a company. So, I'll leave you with this. Where have you seen a Shadow King operate in your world?